Nothing great in the world was accomplished without passion. We learn from history that we do not learn from history. To be independent of public opinion is the first formal condition of achieving anything great. Genuine tragedies in the world are not conflicts between right and wrong. They are conflicts between two rights. Evil resides in the very gaze which perceives evil all around itself. What experience and history teaches us is that people and governments have never learned anything from history or acted on principles deduced from it. Truth is found neither in the thesis nor the antithesis, but in an emergent synthesis which reconciles the two. Only one man ever understood me, and he didn't understand me. Education is an art of making man ethical. It is solely by risking life that freedom is obtained. The individual who has not staked his or her life may no doubt be recognized as a person, but he or she has not attained the truth of this recognition as an independent self-consciousness. The valor that struggles is better than the weakness that endures. The owl of Minerva begins its flight only with the coming of the dusk. Too fair to worship, too divine to love. When liberty is mentioned, we must always be careful to observe whether it is not really the assertion of private interests which is thereby designated. The ignorant man is not free because what confronts him in his alien world, something outside him and in the offing on which he depends, without his having made this foreign world for himself and therefore without being at home in it by himself as in something his own. The impulse of curiosity, the pressure of knowledge, from the lowest level to the highest rung of philosophical insight arises only from the struggle to cancel the situation of unfreedom and to make the world one's own in one's ideas and thought. People who are too fastidious towards the finite never reach actuality, but linger in abstraction and their light dies away. Once the state has been founded, there is no longer any heroes. They come on the scene only in uncivilized conditions. An idea is always a generalization, and generalization is a property of thinking. To generalize means to think. History is not the soil in which happiness grows. The periods of happiness in it are the blank pages of history. We may affirm absolutely that nothing great in this world has been accomplished without passion. World history is a court of judgment. The state of man's mind, or the elementary phase of mind, which he so far possesses, conforms precisely to the state of the world as he so far views it. The length of the journey has to be borne with, for every moment is necessary. History in general is therefore the development of spirit in time, as nature is development of the idea is space. Beauty and art no doubt pervade all business of life, like a kindly genius, and form the bright adornment of all our surroundings, both mental and material, soothing the sadness of our condition and the embarrassments of real life, killing time in entertaining fashion and where there's nothing to be achieved, occupying the place of what is vicious better at any rate than vice. What is reasonable is real. What is real is reasonable. Reading the morning newspaper is the realist's morning prayer. One orients one's attitude towards the world either by God or by what the world is. The former gives as much security as the latter, in that one knows how one stands. No man is a hero to his valet. This is not because the hero is not a hero, but because the valet is a valet. Propounding peace and love without practical or institutional engagement is delusion, not virtue. When we look at the world rationally, the world looks rationally back. War is progress. Peace is stagnation. The one who merely flees is not yet free. In fleeing, he is still conditioned by that form which he flees. Every consciousness pursues the death of the other. By nature, man is not what he ought to be, only through the transforming process does he arrive at truth. Uneducated people delight in argument and fault-finding, for it is easy to find fault, but difficult to recognize the good in its inner necessity. Thinking is indeed essentially the negation of that which is before us. Wickedness also resides at the gaze that perceives itself as innocent and surrounded by wickedness. It is easier to discover a deficiency in individuals, in states, and in providence than to see their real import and value. Art is the sensuous presentation of ideas. It is hard to see why we should not turn around and mistrust this very mistrust. Should we not be concerned as to whether the fear or error is not just the error itself? Not curiosity, not vanity, not the consideration of expediency, not duty or conscientiousness, but an unquenchable, unhappy thirst that brooks no compromise leads us to truth. The very fact that something is determined as limitation implies that limitation is already transcended. But if they realize that their true freedom consists in the acceptance of principles of laws which are their own, a synthesis of universal and particular interests become possible.